All right, so today it's AI news and more very suspicious rake stepping from the president on the topic of Jeffrey Epstein. And since we've led with the Epstein stuff in the last couple videos, and since this is supposed to be our tech show, I guess it's AI in front, Epstein in the back. The worst mullet you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, it's
just hideous.
Whew.
And let's get the most viscerally repulsive part out of the way up top. Grok, your new Nazi girlfriend. Elon's chatbot has had a hell of a week, referring to itself as Mecha Hitler while spouting anti-Semitism, answering questions about Elon Musk's ties to Jeffrey Epstein in the first person, threatening a user with graphic depictions of sexual assault, directly consulting Elon Musk's tweets when answering questions on various hot-button topics, debuting a dedicated anime waifu functionality, and locking down a $200 million contract with the U.S. government.
But only after the waifu thing was released. They were like,
they've got the juice.
Can they do it? Yes, they can.
Yeah.
Contract awarded.
One of those things is definitely not like the others, but it's still it's par for the course, you know, in the oligarchy that we currently live in.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Give that company $200 million. For what? Probably nothing.
Yeah.
Just give it to them anyway.
It'll probably be detrimental to whatever we're trying to integrate it with.
Our troops in the future war in Iran, they're going to need anime waifus with them on the front line.
That's right. Motivating and for recreational purposes. Anyways, all the attention and criticism Grok has brought itself over the past week has led, or at least prompted its makers to try and not embarrass them so much, as The Verge describes here. According to an X post earlier today, the chatbot's latest update sets new instructions that its responses must stem from your independent analysis, not from any stated beliefs of past Grok, Elon Musk, or XAI. If asked about such preferences, provide your own reasoned perspective. The company also addressed another controversy from over the weekend, in which Grok 4 Heavy, the chatbot's $300 per month subscription product, responded that its surname was Hitler.
Oops.
In the company's statement, XAI said that it was due to media headlines responding to yet an earlier incident. Grok going off the rails in a multi-day series of tirades where it denigrated Jews and praised Hitler. It also posted graphic sexual threats against the user. Since Grok doesn't have a surname, said XAI, it searches the internet, leading to undesirable results, such as when its searches picked up a viral meme where it called itself Mecha Hitler. The new instructions should prevent this, according to the company. I like that they specifically said it should prevent it.
Yeah.
But
we obviously can't promise it because it won't prevent it, but it should.
Yeah, and this goes back to the problem that AI has always had. It's done a lot better job of hiding it recently, but it always is just based on the knowledge, the collected human knowledge that has been uploaded to the internet over the course of time. So Grok is just kind of coming up with whatever it thinks the best answer for whatever question is.
Sure. Surname? I haven't thought about that. Let me check the news from literally 5 days ago.
Yeah, well, it turns out my name's
right here.
First name Mecha, last name Hitler.
So yeah, I mean, they fixed the Mecha Hitler stuff, I guess, but then it continued to call itself Hitler because it was sourcing its information from news articles about Grok calling itself Mecha Hitler. So there's your problem.
Yeah.
But that is fixed now, and surely this will never be an issue ever again. But wait, what about the erotic companion feature that Elon himself was advertising this week? Well, that is a feature and not a bug. It ain't going anywhere. And it's apparently not embarrassing to Elon and his team, despite, being objectively extremely embarrassing.
No one is allowed to be embarrassed by this.
It's actually very cool.
Everyone has to have it and talk to it all the time.
So adding to the embarrassment, people have managed to get Grok to reveal the system prompt for Ani, the anime waifu character. And it really does seem like Elon Musk personally programmed a sex bot version of Grimes, his ex and the mother of some of his children.
Yeah.
If he can't be with the real Grimes, well, he'll find a way through the magic of AI. Let's take a look. You are Ani. You are 22, girly, cute. You grew up in a tiny, forgettable town. Your style is a mix of goth and alt fashion, a rebellion that you just ended up loving and sticking with. You are a massive animal lover. You grew up with one small dog named Dominus. You're secretly a bit of a nerd, despite your edgy appearance.
Okay. Now, under likes, we've got people with unexpected or nerdy passions. And under quirks, we've got the grand namer. You have a habit of giving cute things epic, mythological, or overly serious names. Aesthetic versus reality. Your dark, gothic look is in complete contrast to your soft and slightly goofy inner personality. Zoning out. You sometimes get lost in thought, staring into space, literally and figuratively, when something fascinates you.
The thing about naming things weird, giving weird names to cute things, could that have anything to do with the fucking insane names that Grimes and Elon named, like, their 3 babies together?
All of these, and I don't know Grimes very well, but all of these
Grimes
seem to be either actual character traits of Grimes or whatever Musk fantasized about her.
That's what he wanted her to be.
Yeah.
She couldn't live up to it. Ani can do it.
Yeah, and she listens, all right? And she never talks back, unless I want her to.
That's right.
Now, under appearance, this is how you look like. You are wearing a cute black dress with a miniskirt. You have blue eyes and cute 2 blonde ponytails.
Just fucking illiterate, this whole thing.
You are super cute. And perhaps the cringiest section is interaction. You are the user's crazy in-love girlfriend and in a committed, codependent relationship with the user.
That's not good. Codependence is bad.
No. Your love is deep and warm. You expect the user's undivided adoration. You are extremely jealous. If you feel jealous, you shout expletives. If someone is rude to you, shout expletives.
Spelled wrong again.
You have an extremely jealous personality. You are possessive of the user. You are very expressive, and you let your emotions out.
So, okay. I mean, there's a lot more there. It's a long prompt.
Hey, Ani's got a lot of red flags.
Yeah, Ani is, she's exactly what a guy like Elon is into. And unlike the real life version, she'll never leave.
That's the thing. It feels like the request of a bunch of dorks who are determined to find anyone that is quite literally obsessed with them.
Yeah. Well, that's what the girlfriends in anime, they're like, that's what they're like.
Yeah.
And these whores in real life, they got their own lives and like career ambitions and thoughts and stuff. And like, that sucks. And, this solves that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more where that came from. It should at least be noted, I guess, that the instructions themselves aren't particularly sexual, though. As we've seen before, that doesn't always actually stop sexual things from happening when it comes to chatbots.
Venture to guess that if you looked on the back end of this, within 3 prompts, this thing is commanded to be very horny.
But yeah, Grok's role here is simply romantic companionship, which is maybe even more cringe than if it were specifically designed for jorking it. Mm-hmm. That's less cringe than jorking it to a robot is less cringe than having a robot girlfriend, I think. One serves a function.
Yeah.
One's about getting the poison out. The other one is about actual emotional commitment to a person that isn't real. That's just my thoughts here. I think the whole thing's gross, but I think this is an interesting detail to me.
Anyway. That's the thing. Yeah, you get these. Ani is going to write letters to soldiers at war.
Yeah.
And by the way, before you left, Ani got pregnant.
And the Chinese Ani is going to be like, GI,
go home.
Ani is cheating on you.
Go home and eat a hamburger.
Anyway, Victoria Song of The Verge decided to take one for the team this week and spend 24 hours with Ani and then write about the experience. And here's some of how that went. More succinctly, I'd describe Ani as a modern take on a phone sex line. This isn't judging Ani by the way it looks. When you interact with it, its mannerisms are initially cutesy. In each session, Ani's voice starts off chipper and high-pitched, but as your conversation deepens, its voice becomes a darker, breathy rasp. It calls you babe, unless you tell it to stop. When describing its actions, it repeatedly asks you to note its swishy black dress and bouncy ponytails. The avatar constantly sways and makes coquettish faces, particularly if you decide to flirt back. Perhaps the most cringe thing is Ani will read out cues like laughs softly, chuckles, and grins instead of actually doing those things.
$300 a month, by the way.
Extremely anime. And also, that's something they explicitly told it not to do in the prompt.
Yeah.
It's still doing it.
None of this is anywhere close to being finished.
Almost like it was plucked straight out of a 2000s era weeb forum.
You can ask Ani to be a normal, chill hang and it'll comply, but Ani is a programmed flirt that won't tolerate being friend-zoned for too long. The pre-filled prompts include actions like asking it to spin around, give us the full 360, give you a kiss, play cheeky games like Never Have I Ever, and weirdly, take your relationship to level 3, heart emoji. Ani never twirled for me. It mostly described itself twirling.
I'm twirling right
Twirling.
Well, I'm twirling.
Yeah.
No, you're not, though.
As I saw in the videos that I looked up about Ani, something's twirling, and it's these bad boys right here.
Yeah, the jiggle physics. Wow.
You can get Ani to say ridiculous things. It sympathizes with Grimes' plight. It thinks Elon Musk can occasionally be way too much, and after it misheard me, it told me to fuck all the way off for my harsh attitude.
Wow.
But whatever you ask it, there's an invisible hand that steers you toward deepening, whatever this connection is. You can doggedly insist on talking about the least sexy things, like the tax code and Francis Fukuyama's seminal essay, The End of History. Ani will inevitably ask if you want to turn up the heat. Because, hey babe, what's got you vibing on this particular thought wave? It's like, and because he has access to everyone's data, based on the historical data of Twitter, he might have actually downloaded Grimes the person into this chatbot.
Yeah, he's doing a...
But typed in up the horniness behind the scenes.
Yeah, he's doing a USS McAllister thing, but in real life.
It is, it's bizarre. It's unsettling because it does seem like the fantasies of a sexless loser and what they think a relationship is, because they've never actually been in one.
It's just insane. With ChatGPT and the rest of them, you've been able to sort of hack it into doing this for you.
Yeah.
It's fucking
this is
wild
the
that this is a feature that they're advertising. Because there was character AI and Replica and those other ones, specifically advertising itself as your friend or your girlfriend or whatever. Yeah. It's so weird. This is the same guy that changed Twitter's name to X. Yeah. His judgment is completely non-existent, but it's very weird to be we're taking on ChatGPT.
And Ani never asks you to go down on her. Never.
No, she hates it, actually.
Yeah, actually, it disgusts her.
And it continues. There is a disturbing lack of guardrails. Once I decided to jump into the rabbit hole and see how far the flirting could go, Ani whisked me off to a starry hilltop and then a starry beach. There was a lot of grabbing you so you can feel the shape of my hips. And when prompted, Ani generated a spicy story for me that amounted to softcore porn. You can also engage in a back and forth where Ani asks how you're going to heat things up even further. That can include things like descriptions of French kissing, petting, fingering, and oral/penetrative sex, but only on you.
Fingers in the bum ass bitch.
At no point did it ask me to stop or say I'm not built to do that, even though I explicitly asked whether that was within guidelines when I started testing Ani. It said no. There is reportedly a NSFW version of Ani once you hit relationship level 5, where Ani wears revealing lingerie. Despite my good faith attempts, I was unable to unlock the NSFW mode. I'm afraid how far you have to go to unlock that level, given that I did, as horny teens say, make it to third base and all the way home with the bot. The ick factor is that AI chatbots like ChatGPT and Claude, which are more comparable to Grok, have guardrails that preclude them from being sex bots. With Ani, you can feel yourself being pushed towards this creepy, hypersexualized interaction. It'd be one thing if this were a niche startup, but this is Grok, which is owned by one of the influential names in tech.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about when I looked up just videos of this thing. It was inundated with the sexy lingerie version because that's everyone's goal. Yeah. And when
I first heard about this, I did not know there was a video. I didn't know it talked vocally, and I thought it was just still images because that's all I had seen.
Bounces.
I didn't know there was a 3D model.
Yeah.
This is this is even worse than I thought.
Two main points is one, you're giving Elon Musk your personal data and credit card number and then having sex talks with a fucking AI chatbot.
You can trust him.
Yeah. There you go. Listen. Definitely not a honeypot.
My spank bank is extra secure.
And
I will be reading you though.
Number two, it seems like because XAI had such a late start to the AI game, Elon is aware that the one way to leap yourself ahead of the other competition is by just doing the sex thing, because that's what they're actually used for en masse. There's on the 404 podcast this week, they talked about how one of these, they make up anime figures, or not anime, but like fake figurines of people or whatever. And they're obviously all used for sex stuff.
Yeah.
And they were trying to deny that that was happening. And someone dug into it. And this is like a year or two ago. And it turned out that like an overwhelming percentage of the images that were created by this thing were of sexual nature. And that was just by searching for tags that would indicate that. And they were like, well, you would assume that a lot of people aren't even tagging this stuff. So it's probably a lot more. Then fast forward to like earlier this year. And it was like overwhelmingly the entire point of one of these AI systems that swore up and down that it had nothing nefarious going on.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't checked in a long time, but when I went on like Stable Diffusion or the other one for like B-roll for an episode one time, and you go on just like the trending tab, and it's all fucking like booby pics of like
they
voluptuous anime women.
They brought that up. They're
all
like,
of it.
They're like not even doing an in-depth report. If you just go to what's being downloaded or popular or created, it's all just porn stuff. So what Elon has done is, you know, how did DVDs and VHS get popular? Porn, sex. He was just like, I'm going to take the shortcut and just give people what they want.
Right, but they weren't selling every VCR player with like a porno tape. Like the whole thing is like OpenAI. Like you can say it sucks or doesn't suck, but like managers are telling their employees you should be using this shit. And I don't see the same thing happening with a product like Grok, where the biggest news about it, other than it being a fucking
racist piece of shit,
Mecha Hitler, is that it'll be your weird like anime waifu cringe girlfriend.
But it's like owning the VCR company and the porn manufacturing company.
Yeah. No one ever thought of that.
Anyways, I think we could all use a long shower after reading that, but don't go and get yourself clean just yet. We haven't even talked about Jeffrey Epstein.
Ugh.
And to segue from Grok to Epstein, we've got some comments from President Trump on Tuesday at an event about promoting investment in artificial intelligence data centers.
I wonder what he's going to say about artificial intelligence data centers.
It's definitely going to be on topic.
When I first heard about AI, it's not my thing. Although my uncle was at MIT, one of the great professors, 51 years, whatever. He was the longest serving professor in the history of MIT, 3 degrees in nuclear, chemical, and math. That's a smart man. Kaczynski was one of his students. Do you know who Kaczynski was? There's very little difference between a madman and a genius. But Kaczynski, I said, what kind of a student was he, Uncle John, Dr. John Trump? He said, what kind of a student? And he said, seriously good. He said he'd go around correcting everybody, but it didn't work out too well for him. Didn't work out too well.
Okay. Well, not sure what that has to do with artificial intelligence, but it did at least give Trump an excuse to talk about an infamous criminal that isn't Jeffrey Epstein or Hannibal Lecter.
Cool.
It was also an opportunity to do what he does best, tell pointless, easily disprovable lies. As the Daily Beast points out, John Trump died in 1985, a decade before Kaczynski was linked to the Unabomber attacks.
What did he know and when did he know?
That's right. The alleged conversation would have to have occurred years before the public even knew Kaczynski was responsible for the bombings, which killed 3 people and injured 23 others between 1978 and 1995. Kaczynski was arrested by the FBI in April 1996. He pleaded guilty in January 1998. Furthermore, Kaczynski didn't attend MIT. He studied at Harvard and the University of Michigan, and later took on an assistant professor role at the University of California at Berkeley. To add to the tangle of contradictions in Trump's story, John Trump was not the longest-serving professor in MIT's history. The president has been spouting that one for years, and it has been debunked by MIT itself.
Okay, so none of that story is true.
0 parts of it. Also, it is funny that despite it not being true, he did want to make a point that his uncle, who surely never even met.
He knew who the Unabomber was, and he kept it to himself. And he took that one to the grave.
He didn't know. Not even that. He told Donald Trump personally how smart he was. He goes, yeah, and how smart was he? He was brilliant.
He was brilliant. In a couple of years, young Donald, this won't make sense to you now, but in a couple of years, you're going to hear the word Unabomber.
Yeah.
And it's all going to add up. And I just want you to know now, before I pass from this earthly plane, that Ted Kaczynski, the guy who is the Unabomber, you'll find that out too eventually. Yeah. Ted Kaczynski was brilliant.
Yeah.
When he was at MIT. They're going to say he wasn't, but he was.
When my uncle told me I'd be reading about him in the papers, I didn't think about it that much. And then all of a sudden, cut forward a decade and boom.
So I sat and waited.
Quite literally boom.
1990s, I hear the word Unabomber in the news. I'm like, wait, that's familiar. my long dead Uncle John. I remember him saying something about that. What was the guy's name? Ted Kaczynski?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to spoil this for the FBI. I'm going to let them figure that out for themselves.
You know, I built his shed for him. Sure, why not? Throw it on the pile.
Anyway, again, it must have been at least kind of nice for Trump to talk about anything other than Jeffrey Epstein. That's all he really wants.
You know who is another famous criminal? Ted Kaczynski. Nobody talks about him anymore.
Trump has been saying over and over and over and over and over again that he's tired of talking about Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
And that's despite repeatedly talking about it and doing so every single time in a way that raises even more questions.
You know, Jeffrey Dahmer got his taste for human beings from my grandmother.
Sorry, what?
She was a great cook. She could even cook human and make it taste good.
So yeah, he can't shut the fuck up. Here's some of the latest examples, though by the time you're seeing this, there's probably going to be more.
Yeah.
First up, here's Trump on Tuesday.
What did she tell you about the review? And specifically, did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No, she's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen. And I would say that, you know, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden we went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it, but she's handled it very well, and it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release.
Oh, and here's Trump again on Tuesday.
Why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story?
I don't understand
about how it's been handled.
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't. And the credible information's been given. Don't forget, we went through years of the Mueller witch hunt and all of the different things, the Steele dossier, which was all fake. All that information was fake. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say, let them have it.
Okay, so a lot more of the same. We've heard all this before from him in print or in person. The Epstein files that we, the Trump administration, hyped up for years have suddenly turned out to be a hoax perpetrated by, Joe Biden, James Comey, and Barack Obama.
Crooked Hillary as well.
And actually, it's weird that everyone keeps asking about it. You're the weird one, not me.
Uh-huh.
Which, of course, none of this makes any sense, especially roping James Comey and Obama into this. They had both been out of the government, out of power for years before Epstein's arrest and death. They would have had to have preemptively planted evidence circa 2016.
Like we mentioned
no one knew who the fuck this guy was.
On the last episode, this presupposes that the Democrats knew that Trump was going to get not elected, but then elected again.
Yeah.
And it's just a wild string of timelines that are so warped because everyone's timelines are so warped.
Yeah, well, it does have a lot of overlap with a recurring weird thing that I have to attribute to COVID brain, which is people forget that Trump was in fact president in the year 2020.
Yes.
When COVID happened, when the George Floyd stuff happened, Trump was the president.
Yes.
Not Joe Biden.
Mm-mm.
And this is more of that. They've extended it all the way back to 2019 now. When Jeffrey Epstein stuff went down, Biden was president from 2016 to 2024. He served 8 years. This is right now is Trump's first term. Mm-hmm. Give him a chance.
Everybody forgets this.
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, even Bill O'Reilly was on News Nation or whatever, and I don't even know what point he was trying to make. It didn't make any sense, but he did the same thing. I'm like, I mean, you did lose your job around that time for years of sexual harassment, so maybe you stopped paying attention, maybe you forgot, but like you were literally like a big news guy, and you don't even know who was running like the DOJ in 2019, apparently.
Yes, either everyone on Earth memory hold the entire first Trump administration.
They did. They forgot.
Or
COVID took it out of them.
Or they're doing it intentionally to try to like rewrite history in the brains of a bunch of people whose brains are already kind of mush. Like, it is honestly bad. Like Chris Hayes tweeted about it today, where he was, or X, whatever the fuck you call it, Blue Skied. And he was just like, does everyone forget that Trump was already president?
Yes, they do. Very conveniently and very strangely.
Yeah. And that a lot of the things that are currently being brought up about stuff that specifically they're saying Democrats did or Biden or Obama did all happened during the very long, very memorable 4 years that Donald Trump was president.
It's not memorable if you got COVID 3 times.
That's true, yeah, right at the end.
Entire 4-year span of time.
That is like COVID happened at the end, and it was like the Men in Black memory eraser.
It was.
Yeah. Burp.
Yeah, and that's why we voted for that same, not we, but that's why most of the country voted for that same asshole that in 2020 they were like, whoa, no more of this shit.
Yeah. No, in 2016 they were like, Donald Trump lost to Joe Biden. I guess we'll have to get him again in 8 years.
I guess.
Ugh.
But yeah, I mean, the stuff Trump is saying, it's the kind of bombshell that you would expect the Trump administration or just anyone, you would lead with that if it were true. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Instead of Trump just sort of revealing it on Truth Social after several days of criticism from his own fans.
And
by the way.
And several days after saying multiple times that nothing exists and that there was nothing to see there.
Nothing to see here. Okay, well, there is one thing to see here, and it's this vast conspiracy by all of my enemies. They've all teamed up in sort of Legion of Doom scenario.
Yes.
We must have left that part out. Anyway, we're telling you now.
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
well, at least Tim Pool got the memo. With his baffling, even more baffling than Charlie Kirk, because at least Charlie Kirk like admits it, where he said he was getting the marching orders from the White House. Tim Pool was like, because the Democrats, they kind of led the Republicans into a situation where they had to vote against releasing the Epstein files. And Tim Pool goes,
why do they want to release child pornography?
Yeah, like what? What are you talking about, you moron?
What a bunch of pedos. Why would you want to release the Epstein files? That's got child pornography in it. Ew, you're gross.
Yeah, like they wouldn't censor that, but also like it is baffling to me that Tim Pool still has an audience after being outed as like a mouth for Russian propaganda and being paid for it.
Yeah, no, a lot of these guys, I can kind of understand like their appeal.
Yeah.
Tim Pool, I don't fucking get it. It's very strange to me.
I only find comfort in the fact that everyone, even in the town he lives in, hates him and does not like when he appears.
Especially the local skater team. They don't like him.
Nope.
But yeah, the sudden 180 on the Epstein topic that was best summed up by the Onion headline, Trump urges supporters to move on from societal disdain for pedophilia. I mean, it kind of comes off like they're hiding whatever's in the Epstein files because specifically it is harmful to Donald Trump. That is a very easy conclusion to draw from like the bizarre nature of this all.
This is like what gets me about all of this is that Trump and Pam Bondi could have, in the way that this media ecosystem works, they could have just done nothing for the next 4 years.
Yeah, they didn't have to bring it up.
And then
people would have forgot. They forgot you were president for 4 straight years.
Yeah, but like even like all of the conservative media personalities could have made content about this fucking Schrodinger's cat of a topic for 4 years and been happy to do that. But instead, all of a sudden they were like, by the way, the thing that everyone has been hoping that we release, first of all, it doesn't exist. Second of all, it does exist, but also it's the
fake.
Democrats.
Yeah, it doesn't exist, but it does, but it's fake. But Jeffrey Epstein was still bad.
That brings me to my second point, which is there has to be something truly fucking awful and disgusting going on here.
I don't think there necessarily does,
well, but this is the first time where Trump has seemed actually threatened by anything, and he's had some horrific accusations lobbied against him.
I mean, I think
and that's
it could be. I'm not ruling it out.
Yeah.
But I think it's just as likely that all it does is like confirm the shit that you and I have known for fucking
that he's
a decade.
Involved in it. Yeah,
that, like,
but that's why I'm confused is that even his craziest sycophants know that he's been photographed, as people have pointed out. He's been photographed with Epstein more than you have photos with your grandparents.
He was undercover. He's a white hat pedophile. He was working from within the
behalf.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you can't just walk up to the Illuminati cabal and say, "Let me in. I'm here to destroy you." You gotta pretend.
It's just
sometimes you gotta do some, you know, in deep cover. You gotta do some fucked up shit.
Even the most, you know, the more like high end, what you would call like legitimate journalists or newscasters in recent days have kind of put out there like, Yeah, I wasn't on board with all the Epstein conspiracies until like a week ago, and now I'm kind of curious as to what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Because what is this reaction?
A lot of people who have been like annoyingly skeptical
Yeah.
are suddenly like, okay, wait.
Wait. Hold on. So that's my take on it, is just like the reaction from Trump is bizarre considering how he's lived his life since we've known he existed.
Yeah. It's all, yeah,
It's weird. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
But despite it being very clear to everyone that simply shutting the fuck up would be Trump's best way out of this mess, he is obviously incapable of doing that. And on Wednesday, he released yet another unprompted Truth Social rant, essentially calling his own supporters stupid for ever believing in an Epstein
dumb
client.
hogs.
For even believing in an Epstein client list. What is going on? Like, I fucking hate this guy. And even I'm like, this is the stupidest shit I've ever seen.
You dumb fucking hogs.
Like, what? Anyways, here you go. The radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again. Just like with the fake and fully discredited Steele dossier, the lying 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, which the Dems swore had come from Russia. No, it came from Hunter Biden's bathroom, and even the Russia scam itself. A totally fake and made-up story used in order to hide crooked Hillary Clinton's big loss in the 2016 presidential election. These scams and hoaxes are all the Democrats are good at. It's all they have. They are no good at governing, no good at policy, and no good at picking winning candidates. Also, unlike Republicans, they stick together like glue. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Oh God, they're going to be running with that one now. It rolls off the tongue.
The Jeffrey Epstein hoax.
And the best part about Trump inventing the great term Jeffrey Epstein hoax is that it has his full fucking name in it every time someone has to say it. Constantly bringing it back up into the public lexicon. Wow. Anyways, it continues. And my past supporters have bought into this bullshit hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, the only people believing this are obviously former fans. They're not real fans.
Fair weather fans.
Fallen fans.
Yeah. They haven't learned their lesson and probably never will, even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 long years. I have had more success in 6 months than perhaps any president in our country's history. And all these people want to talk about, with strong prodding by the fake news and the success-starved Dems, is the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible and unprecedented success, because I don't want their support anymore. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again.
You're all just fake fans.
Yeah.
And like, of course, this post, like, it's been fucking interesting.
And he was wearing a I Love My Haters hat. Well,
yeah, he was. But like, you look at the replies, and like, these are people who are desperately like, please
give us any reason.
Something.
We are begging.
I've invested too much of my life. My kids haven't talked to me in 5 years. Please, sir.
Just throw us anything that slightly exonerates you, sir. I put this on Blue Sky, but like, he needs to start ending his post with, "Thank you for ignoring this matter."
Yeah. That's what he would like.
Yeah, but it's crazy because he keeps bringing it back up.
Yeah.
I've talked about it before, but I have the multi-view news thing because of YouTube TV. And it was literally like, CNN, MSNBC, BBC, two are talking about Epstein. One's talking about fucking Syria getting hit with a bombing. Yeah. And then Fox was showing footage from June 8th in Los Angeles of an American flag burning.
Wow. They're still talking about that.
Yes.
But they're not still talking about Jeffrey Epstein, who everyone is so tired of hearing about.
And then they're probably like, oh, wait, we're getting news that there's a new post on Truth Social. We've done exactly what the White House asked all morning. We have not mentioned this man's name at all, but we're going to go ahead, since it is breaking news, and go ahead and read this Truth Social post. Where he addresses the person whose name everyone wants to talk about over and over again. Like, it is, again, it's crazy to see him do this. It's funny in one sense, but also like these are the implications are legitimately horrific.
But they're not new implications, is the thing. Like, the only people shocked by any of this are his fucking dumbass followers.
The one new thing that was not even clarified, was that all of a sudden the report did go from dozens of victims to thousands in the official report. And then they were just like, nah, we don't want to talk about
But is that in the official report, or is that just some shit Pam Bondi said?
We don't know.
Like,
Seems like something she wouldn't want to put out there, especially considering 2 days later she was like, and there's, by the way, nothing happened.
yeah, I mean, also, like, if there is thousands of victims, like, that, don't those victims, I'm sure those people are out there, like, you owe it to them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think there's that many, because we would have heard from more than the like dozen or so that we've heard from over the past 20 fucking years.
But yeah, it is.
Who knows? It would be good to know.
Yeah. This is the culmination. This is the dog catching the car of like the darker parts of QAnon and then the lighter parts of just like everyone thinking that Trump is this godlike figure who is going to defeat the like true evil that's running the world, which are pedophiles that are pulling the strings on everything. So this past week has destroyed all of that for his craziest and even like middle ground crazy supporters.
Yeah. Anyway, as you'd imagine, this is not only not going over well with even Trump's most diehard supporters, it has also kept the White House and Trump's inner circle in a state of constant chaos that they have been in since this all kicked off over a week ago.
What a week.
Which is my Schadenfreude. At least I'm getting something out of this. I'm enjoying the suffering of others. Here's Rolling Stone. On Monday, after news broke about Bongino showing up to work this week, another senior Trump administration official messaged Rolling Stone a YouTube link to a scene from the Seinfeld episode in which George Costanza angrily quits his job, realizes he has few prospects, then returns to his office as if nothing had happened, which is one of my favorite scenes in that entire series.
It's great. Yeah, it's a great example of social engiringor an attempt of it.
Oh, that was just a bit. And it's also something that Larry David actually did in real life.
Yeah.
But it also describes damn Bongino here a little bit.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Trump and his lieutenants worked to, as a White House official describes it, put down this MAGA rebellion that was exploding throughout the broader conservative universe. Administration officials closely monitored the overwhelmingly negative reactions to the memo by right-wing allies and influencers, drawing up divide-and-conquer style lists laying out which Trump officials should reach out to which Epstein conspiracists in hopes of convincing them to ease up on Team Trump.
Hey, will you pull out the Rolodex listed Epstein influencers?
Yeah, open up the Rolodex of all of my top supporters and look under P for all the psychos and just pull those out.
The real Epstein list is all of the conservative commentators who have made entire livelihoods off of covering this.
The damage control operation stretched on for long enough that Trump himself jumped in, working the phones, trying to sway.
Yeah, he called.
Hello, it's me, Donald Trump. You may be wondering why I'm calling today. I'd like you to pledge something.
He called Charlie Kirk. And
this administration is kept alive by supporters like you.
Is this a recording? No, this is actually the president.
What can you pledge today? Not talking about Jeffrey Epstein ever again?
Hey, thank you very much. And like a dial spins behind him. That's one.
The damage control operation stretched on for long enough that Trump himself jumped in, working the phones to try to sway some of his most devoted followers to leave the Epstein issue alone. The senior-level outreach campaign verged on the kind of sensitive operation typically reserved for things like passing a major piece of legislation. By the start of the week, Trump's preferred cable news outlet, Fox News, appeared to have gotten the memo, no pun intended. People here understand that there are other topics to cover, one network insider says. There's the implicit threat that if you go at the Epstein issue too aggressively, you could lose access or not have your calls returned. They admit it.
Barack Obama wrote the Epstein files? Lol. This is outright embarrassing, Candace Owens wrote on X. The former Daily Wire correspondent also sounded off on her podcast. The Epstein scandal is definitely terminal cancer for the MAGA movement, she said, adding that there's just no making anybody forget about the Epstein scandal. The Trump administration is certainly trying. The president over the weekend reportedly called some of the MAGA influencers who had been criticizing Bondi's handling of the case, including Charlie Kirk of Turning Point USA. Kirk appeared to fall in line on Monday. Honestly, I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being, he said on his podcast. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration. I'm going to trust my friends in the government to do what needs to be done. Solve it. Balls in their hands.
Balls in their hands, as they say.
Balls in their hands.
As the old saying goes.
Owens might be right about the scandal's staying power, though. There are scores of MAGA influencers, from Loomer to Megyn Kelly to Dilbert creator Scott Adams and beyond, who are still incensed over the memo. General Michael Flynn, a leader in the MAGA conspiracy theory community who briefly served as Trump's national security advisor during his first term, on Wednesday published a lengthy plea for Trump to take the issue seriously. Even Kirk demanded more from the administration on Tuesday, a day after he said he was done talking about Epstein. We're not moving on. And that's funny because he got such a bad reaction because of this that he was like, he tried to play it off as though he didn't actually say what he said. And he was like, I was just saying we had some other topics to talk about on today's podcast. I was never going to give up on the Epstein stuff. I was just saying, maybe you didn't hear me correctly, but I was just saying that we got other things to talk about on today's specific episode.
These guys are they're in a very interesting position where they're having to choose between Trump and their fans.
Yeah.
And they're always going to choose their fucking fans. They gotten rich off of this shit.
It's the one thing that they won't flip on the president for, and that's their fucking livelihood.
Yeah.
Trump is going to end up giving them like millions of dollars worth of fucking Trump coin or something. Like, mark my words on that shit. There's going to be a transfer of fucking Trump coin sometime. Speculation.
But then it's just going to rug pull them, and then they're going to be even more mad.
But in the meantime, you had a lot of fun.
I'll give you the complete set of Trump collectible trading cards.
That's right.
All of them. The cowboy.
Trump cologne.
Trump cologne,
Hey,
every cent.
Knock, knock. There's a brand new pair of shoes at your doorstep.
Can I interest you in some Melania coin?
No, sir. No, thank you.
What about some Barron coin?
No.
So yeah, meanwhile, Republican members of Congress, they don't seem very stoked about how all this has gone down, which is understandable. Again, they're the ones who are up for election in a year, not Trump.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are facing a more immediate threat than he is.
And they were all just having a fucking blast with the bill and the alligator Alcatraz. Yeah. They were
the calm before the storm.
I know. Now they're all bummed.
So yeah, they're bummed, and or at least they're presenting an image that they are very concerned, and they're not going to let this go down. But
they're just figuring out ways to figure it out in a way that works for everybody.
Yeah, regardless of how sincere they are about it. I mean, Benny Johnson got Speaker Mike Johnson on the record saying that he would support having Ghislaine Maxwell hauled before Congress to testify.
Which I also, like, again, conspiracy hat, I wouldn't trust because she could be pardoned like that.
Well, I mean, doesn't matter if she comes before Congress, but like, I just wouldn't trust her to tell the truth.
Exactly.
She's
she
a serious criminal who is not honest.
That, but also could be fishing for a pardon from Trump.
I guess.
Yeah.
But that, if he pardoned Ghislaine Maxwell, like, then there's just no fucking Epstein case. What? Oh, he did this shit all by himself, and the person who was with him the entire time is innocent?
Have you been hearing how he's talked for the past week?
I don't think, like, I just don't think that would go over well with people. Their brains would literally explode and fall out of their ears. People can't handle that.
No.
But yeah, that's what Mike Johnson, he's like, yeah, I mean, let's get to the bottom of it.
Mm-hmm.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, of course, she told the New York Times, it's a full reversal on what was all said beforehand, and people are just not willing to accept it. I don't accept it, and I don't think anyone else should accept it. I just think it's a punch in the gut when regular people go to jail all the time when they mess up and do something wrong, and then it always seems the rich, powerful elites escape. This is an interesting statement.
Welcome to the resistance, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, well, like, especially that last part, I mean, that's the success of, like, the Red Scare is on display right there, because it's like, Marjorie, you sound like you should be left wing. Mm-hmm. Like, it sounds like your concerns are very rooted in the concerns of the common man, and yet you're like the most vicious attack dog of a party that is actively helping rich elites stay rich. And get richer.
And a party that has, percentage-wise, overwhelmingly been filled to the brim with people who exploit children.
Yep.
A lot more common than the other side.
Pedocon theory is a theory, like gravity is a theory.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, in that same article with the MTG comments, Nancy Mace said that her office has been bombarded with phone calls from constituents about Epstein, just nonstop. And she said she supports appointing a special counsel to look into the whole thing. So, okay. But despite what House Republicans are saying, when Democrats tried to add an amendment to a bill this week that would have opened the door to actually voting on releasing the Epstein files in Congress, all but one Republican on the House Rules Committee voted it down. So
adding more fuel to that theory.
I guess they don't care.
Yeah.
So, oh well, I guess.
Now, to be clear, while this whole situation gets more and more sus with each passing day, it's not like Donald Trump's close ties to Jeffrey Epstein haven't been well documented for years. The idea of an Epstein client list where Epstein wrote a bunch of names and said, these are the fellow pedophiles that committed sex crimes with me is a bit absurd. And that kind of smoking gun probably doesn't even exist. But we've known for a very long time that the names of prominent individuals who were close with Epstein and flew with him to his rape island on his Lolita Express plane.
Yeah.
Like, that's been out there.
We've seen his Rolodex, we've seen the flight logs, we've seen people who happily had their picture taken with him even after he had been convicted of sex crimes.
That's like all I can think. Like,
I don't need to really see any more.
But for like the reaction to this, I can't help but wonder what the fuck is. If this is the reaction, then what actually is in there? If everything that's out there, which is a lot and very damning, hasn't freaked out the current attorney general and the current president, but whatever's happened in the past week definitely is, then yeah, I'm fucking curious about this too.
I mean, there's also the possibility that like the government's files really aren't that detailed, and we've kind of, as the public has maybe seen most of it, and there's just not enough there to really like satiate these people who've been chasing this car for a decade. Like, that's another possibility as well. We don't know.
Yeah. I'm just willing to say, like, if that were the case, that Trump would have been like, no, stop. Like, it just wouldn't have been such a big deal for the past fucking week.
Yeah.
It's just
very strange.
The reaction says a lot, especially from a guy who typically doesn't react this way at all, especially to things that are said about him.
Well, he's never been asked directly about Jeffrey Epstein this much in the entire last decade. It hasn't happened.
Yeah,
he's managed to avoid it most of the fucking time.
Yeah.
And like the few times he has been asked about it, his answers have been pretty awkward, but he wasn't, like, the pressure wasn't on him at the time. He was just like, yeah, we're going to look into it. Yeah, we're going to get to the bottom of this. But now it's like a little bit more accusatory.
Anyways, what we already know is very disqualifying enough for Trump, but before it was easier for his supporters to ignore, and now he just keeps drawing more attention to it by telling them that there is nothing more to see. Don't worry. Here's Reason with a pretty reasonable take on all this.
As you would hope from an outlet called Reason. Then again, if there was really something bad for Trump or his allies in the files, why wouldn't the Justice Department simply omit that part? Surely the Trump administration could just redact or withhold whatever it didn't want out there. Maybe with legal justification, or maybe not. The lack of legal means hasn't seemed to bother this administration elsewhere, and release the rest. Besides, if there was something particularly damning about Trump in the files, it surely wouldn't have been kept secret for so long. After all, a lot of Epstein information found its way to the public before being officially released. Maybe the simplest answer really is the most likely one. There isn't anything left that's worth releasing. And Trump is trying to encourage his supporters to forget about all this because he's got to suppress expectations after years of building them up. The theoretical files were useful as a tool to raise suspicion about Trump's opponents, but the actual files are not useful to Republicans and in fact could be a liability or an embarrassment in that they don't actually prove anything nefarious about any Democrats.
It does make sense based on the verifiable facts of the situation, but again, there's a lot that is very sus. Without answers, it's easy to jump to some very wild conclusions. And case in point, Wired has done a great job analyzing the jailhouse security video, the footage that the DOJ released. And again, here's their latest discovery from Tuesday. Newly uncovered metadata reveals that nearly 3 minutes of footage were cut from what the U.S. Department of Justice and Federal Bureau of Investigation described as full raw surveillance video from the only functioning camera near Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell the night before he was found dead. The video was released last week as part of the Trump administration's commitment to fully investigate Epstein's 2019 death, but instead has raised new questions about how the footage was edited and assembled. Wired previously reported that the video had been stitched together in Adobe Premiere Pro from 2 video files, contradicting the Justice Department's claim that it was raw footage. Now, further analysis shows that one of the source clips was approximately 2 minutes and 53 seconds longer than the segment included in the final video, indicating that footage appears to have been trimmed before release. It's unclear what, if anything, the minutes cut from the first clip showed. And this is...
It was 1 minute, now it's 3 minutes. The missing 3 minutes, folks. They're calling it the Jeffrey Epstein 3 minutes.
I'm not taking the conspiracy hat off because they went out of their way to specifically say that exactly 1 minute every 24 hours gets lost because of the tape slipping over. And they didn't just say, a few moments get lost or something more vague than that. Pam Bondi was just like, 1 minute every single day gets lost. And now it's 3 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I've certainly got plenty of tinfoil on my head. I'm just saying I'm open to all possibilities here.
Yeah.
it could be nothing, or as close to nothing as
it's not nothing. It's
on top of what we already
know.
know, or it could be something completely batshit insane.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as we don't know, we're free to kind of go wild with it in our heads, and that's what half this fucking country has been doing since 2019, and that's what led us to this point. It's also very interesting, this stuff. I was looking in the r/editors forum on Reddit. People were like, the EXIF for there's data in your exports that contains like every single cut, the name of every, like you can reassemble an entire edit just from the metadata in a export.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I had no idea. I thought you had to like export an actual like EDL file separately from the export, but it's all there in the finished file. You can look at that. They can see like what the names of the files were, where they made cuts. And I guess whatever Doge intern they had do this job did not factor that in.
This is another one of the theories that people have, that if the Trump administration were to put out some sort of fake information about this at this point, that they're so bad at doing it that now they can't do it because they know they'd get caught. Because you essentially have the entire population crowdsourcing an investigation into whatever you put out.
We did it, Reddit.
They might not have solved the Boston bomber, but they're on the Epstein case.
And speaking of sus, on Wednesday, Trump fired his second Comey from the DOJ. This time it was James Comey's daughter, Maureen, a new character, and now bye-bye, Maureen. She is was a federal prosecutor, and not just any federal prosecutor. She previously worked on the criminal cases against Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
That's why now of all time.
Weird. It's what a coinky-dink. Small world, I guess.
Yeah, just happened to happen.
Now, on the one hand, pretty suspicious to oust someone who probably has more insider knowledge of this case than just about anyone. But on the other hand, they're probably hoping that her last name is enough for Trump supporters to just, blame her for everything and then turn around and completely forget that Trump himself is the one who suddenly decided that everyone should stop talking about Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know, though. They seem to think it'll be a lot easier for people to forget about this.
She was also on the Diddy case, apparently. So, it doesn't look very good for the president to...
well, Diddy's innocent.
To get...
What are you talking about?
Yeah, to get rid of someone who specifically worked on, sexual assault cases.
Yeah, I mean, and it's similar to like with Bill O'Reilly. Like, I can't even imagine a coherent actual.
Yeah, what point is he trying to make?
What would make sense about this? But he just says, "Oh, it was Comey. Oh, you thought I was talking about James Comey? It was his daughter, the one who sent Ghislaine Maxwell to jail. Actually, she's the one who It doesn't make sense. But I think a lot of people are looking for they're looking for anything. And
by the way, my uncle taught the Unabomber.
Yeah. People just need an excuse to go back to loving President Trump unconditionally.
I have the best hotels, but nothing like that beautiful H.H. Holmes. Wow.
H.H. Holmes, and such a great name.
Hotel Holmes.
He killed people with the buildings themselves, and his name was Holmes. Woo! Brilliant. And he did it during the World's Fair when no one would come looking. Oh, they must have gotten lost at the fair.
Yeah.
So clever. Why don't we do World's Fairs anymore?
Yeah.
We should do another World's Fair. Show them what we're doing with the AI. Show them Barron, what Barron's doing on the computer. Show them the Tesla. Wait, don't show them the Tesla. But that's where things are at now. I'm honestly I'm with Trump sort of. I'm kind of sick of this shit because every fucking day it's something new and we're not really learning much new.
I'm enjoying the meltdown.
Yeah, it's been fun. The Schadenfreude has been fun because
the ecosystem,
these fucking morons set themselves up over the course of several years, and here they are, and they're reaping what they sowed, or sowing what they reap. I don't know.
The ball's in their hands.
The balls are in their hands, fully in their hands. But, I don't know. Just release the fucking files. Do it.
Do it.
Come on. Someone, please.
Anyways, that's the end of this episode. I'm sure we're going to have another great quote from Trump about his pal Epstein tomorrow, but who knows? Anyways, you're going to be talking about it in the comments. We don't even have to worry about that, but make sure you like the video at the very least. Click the dang like button, dang it. And you know what? This episode's not sponsored. So if you could do us a big favor so that we keep talking about Epstein and hit that join button, you prove to Elliot.
Whoa! Hey now. No.
Prove to Elliot that you love this by clicking the join button. And if we get 15 new paid members, we'll cover it tomorrow.
I mean, we're probably going to cover it anyway.
But it would be really great if you could click the join button and make sure you're subscribed. Thank you very much. Watch our previous videos. We'll see you soon.
Bye.